Before we begin this deep dive, let's just take a moment to center ourselves. Father Yahweh, we come before you as your servants, just seeking a little understanding today. We ask that the Ruach HaKodesh would guide our conversation, guide our hearts as we look at your law and your grace. Help us to shed the heavy yoke of this world so we can see the freedom you gave us and truly understand what it means to enter your rest. Amen. Welcome back to the deep dive. If you, the listener, are anything like us, you're probably listening to this while doing at least one other thing.
Maybe catching up on work, scrolling social media.
Exactly. You're in that state of being, overstimulated, under-rested, and spiritually just fatigued.
And that feeling is really the core of what we're talking about today. We're speaking to you, the learner, who feels busy but not whole. Maybe productive, but not actually fulfilled.
Right. And our source material for this dive offers a pretty stark diagnosis for that feeling. It argues that this exhaustion, it's not an accident, it's engineered.
It is. The global system, which we're calling Babylon today, it thrives on our fatigue.
Why is that?
Because the source material says it very plainly. A tired people don't ask questions. They don't keep commandments.
They just comply.
They just comply.
So our mission today is to cut through that noise, to issue what we're calling a kingdom correction against these systems that twist Yahweh's law into control. And we're going to center it all on one line from Yeshua.
Mark 2.27. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath.
And this is so much more than just a cute quote for a coffee mug.
Oh, absolutely. This is Yeshua performing a rescue. He's drawing a line between Yahweh's actual intent and what had become empty religious performance.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Mark chapter 2. Where is this happening?
Yeshua and his disciples, they're walking through a grain field on the Sabbath.
And they're hungry. So the disciples, they just start plucking the heads of grain to eat. It seems like a very simple, very human act.
It is, but they're being watched. The religious authorities of the day, the Pharisees, they immediately step in.
The Sabbath police.
Exactly. They see this plucking of grain as a form of work, a form of harvesting, and they ask, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful?
And here's the critical point, isn't it? They weren't breaking Yahweh's law.
Not at all. The Torah actually allowed for this. What they were breaking was the Pharisaical tradition, these extra man-made fences that had been built around the law.
It's what Yeshua talks about later, right? In Matthew, where he says they are teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
Precisely. And when the ritual becomes more important than a human being's hunger, the whole system has gone wrong. It's become a burden, not a path to the Creator.
So Yeshua, he pushes back with their own history. He brings up King David.
Right. He reminds them that David, when he and his men were in desperate need, ate the shewbread from the temple, which was technically only for the priests.
So he's saying that need, that mercy, can sometimes override strict ritual.
He's showing that there's a hierarchy of values. The Sabbath commandment exists to serve Yahweh's purpose for his people. It was never meant to crush them.
It's a tool, not a tyrant.
That's a perfect way to put it.
So to really get the power of this statement, we have to go back, way back.
To the very beginning. Because the Sabbath isn't just cultural. It's, it's biological. It's spiritual.
It's covenantal. We're talking Genesis 2.
And what's amazing is the timing. Yahweh rests and raids them. He sanctifies the seventh day before sin enters the world, before Egypt, before Babylon, before Rome, before any organized religion existed.
So rest is actually part of the original design. It's fundamental.
It's a core rhythm of creation itself.
Yeah.
So if Yahweh, the Creator, established a pattern of rest, how much more do we need it?
Which explains why later, in Exodus 20, he doesn't say start a new thing. He says, remember the Sabbath day.
He says remember because he knows we'll forget. When survival pressure goes up, rest is the first thing to go.
And that's the mechanism of control, isn't it? That feeling of constant urgency.
Absolutely. Yahweh constantly connects the Sabbath to freedom from slavery. He tells the Israelites in Deuteronomy, remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt.
That is a revolutionary statement.
It is. Slaves don't get a day off. Slaves don't own their time. Your output belongs to Pharaoh.
So when Yahweh commands rest, he's saying you are no longer owned.
That's it, exactly. The Sabbath is a weekly declaration of independence. It's a protest against any system that tries to own you. Your allegiance shifts from the system that demands your constant output to the God who provides for you.
And it becomes a sign, right? Exodus says it's a sign between him and his people.
Yes, a sign that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Babylon wants your output. Yahweh wants your heart.
Which brings us right into our world, modern Babylon.
Hmm.
If the command in old Babylon was make more bricks, what's the command today?
Oh, it's everywhere. Grind harder. Sleep when you're dead.
Monetize your hobby, be available 24/7, side hustle the side hustle.
Yes. And it creates this spiritual delusion that visible effort is the same as virtue. And you hear the rhetoric all over social media.
That's a mindset issue. If you're tired, you're lazy.
And the worst one, everybody got the same 24 hours.
Which is just not true. It completely ignores context, economic pressure, everything.
It's designed to induce shame. It's the modern psychological equivalent of Pharaoh's whip, forcing you to constantly prove your worth through your output.
So practically, this is the conflict, right? For you, the listener, if I honor that rhythm, I might lose my job. I might fall behind. Doesn't that mean I need more hustle?
And that's the point where faith has to enter the equation. Because the pressure is real. But the Creator gives us a counter-narrative. Look at Psalm 127.
Okay.
It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, for so he giveth his beloved sleep.
That's the divine contrast right there.
It is. Babylon says, prove yourself. Yahweh says, trust me. The Sabbath becomes a weekly, physical act of trusting that your provision comes from him, not just from your own frantic effort.
And here's the uncomfortable part. Yeshua wasn't just fighting the world on this. He was fighting the religious system.
Mm-hmm. The very people who were supposed to be stewarding this gift of rest had turned it into a weapon of control. Fear, judgment, surveillance.
So a commandment for human flourishing becomes a tool for oppression.
Yes. They got so lost in the tiny rules of what not to do that they forgot the whole point was supposed to be delight and mercy.
And we see that today, don't we? We argue about the correct way to keep Sabbath, judging each other instead of finding rest. We get anxious about whether we're doing it right.
If your Sabbath brings you anxiety or makes you judgmental, then something is deeply wrong. You're practicing Phariseeism, not rest.
So Yeshua wasn't trying to abolish the Sabbath.
No, he was rescuing it. He was rescuing it from religious bondage. He was pointing back to the original intent.
Which, according to the prophet Isaiah, is supposed to be a delight.
A delight, not a burden. And that delight is rooted in mercy. It's Hosea 6:6, for I desired mercy and not sacrifice. The needs of people come before rigid, blind ritual.
Okay, so let's make this practical for you, the learner, living in this 21st century grind. 3 key applications.
Let's do it.
First, stop treating rest like a reward.
Yes, it's a commandment. It's not a prize you get after you've burned yourself out.
So refusing to rest isn't discipline.
It's distrust. It's a distrust in the provider. Hebrews chapter 4 tells us to labor to enter that rest. And that labor isn't work. It's the intentional effort to stop, to trust.
Okay, second point. Sabbath is about alignment, not isolation.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you have to hide from the world. Remember, Yeshua was walking through life when this happened.
Right.
It just means you intentionally slow your pace. You stop the engine of productivity. You turn off the work phone. You put down the side hustle, and you recenter on the Creator.
And third, stop letting Babylon define your productivity.
This is the big one. If your worth is tied to your output, how much you earn, how many tasks you complete, then resting feels like becoming worthless.
It's impossible.
It is. And this generational burnout we're seeing, this is Yahweh's callback to a rhythm. It's a call to find rest in his grace, not in your own achievements.
So when you really break it down, keeping the Sabbath in modern Babylon it's an act of resistance.
It is a protest.
When you unplug from the 24/7 demands, you're making a statement.
You're declaring your allegiance. You're saying, I don't belong to Pharaoh, or to a corporation, or to an algorithm. I belong to the Most High.
And my time is his.
Mm-hmm. It's living out that declaration in Joshua 24:15. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And serving him means resting when he says rest.
We started this with Mark 2.27. The Sabbath was made for man. But Yeshua's very next words are just as powerful.
He says, therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath day.
So that's the final thought for you to take with you.
Right. If Yeshua declared himself Lord even of the Sabbath, whose authority are we prioritizing when we decide how to rest? Are we serving the rules and anxieties of man, or are we submitting to the Lord of the Sabbath himself? That's the question to explore this week.
Shalom, and may you find that true rest that only comes from the Creator.